You may have seen clips of large groups of white South African families getting off of planes in the USA and being greeted at customs, and lots of whooping and hollering and lots of very happy smiley faces, and wondered what the hell's going on.
This Afrikaner refugee had a 5-bedroom house and a mining company in South Africa. You know, the way refugees have. He had to leave behind his car, his dogs, and even his mother. You know, the way that families that are in terrible danger and have to flee usually leave behind their mother. He's also a bigot, at the very least an anti-Semite and an Islamophobe. A few years ago, he posted vile, sweeping, stereotypical statements about Jews on the internet, and he also posted clapping hand emojis in response to a post about assaulting Muslims. In his defense, he says that he was standing up for his religion, and he was also on very heavy medication at the time, specifically morphine. And I'm sure we all know that when somebody takes morphine, they suddenly become a hateful bigot. This is well documented. And he says that the land expropriation in South Africa has gone too far, your land becomes worthless. I can't wait for him to find out that America has basically the same expropriation laws as South Africa, they just call it something else. And the silliest part of all, you might be amused to know that this man, who walked away from a quality of life, a standard of life, higher than the vast majority of South Africans could ever dream of having, a 5-bedroom house, his surname is Kleinhaus.
You can't make this shit up. Anybody know who this is? His name is Carl Kleinhaus. He happens to be one of the first South Africaners to arrive to the U.S., courtesy of Donald Trump and your tax dollar. Why is he one of the ones that stick out the most? Because while the narrative is they were in fear of their lives and facing poverty in their homeland of South Africa, he's one of the ones that got here and now revealing the truth. Or at least the truth is revealing him. Because Mr. Kleinhaus wasn't facing poverty or struggle or fear of his life. Mr. Kleinhaus is co-owner of his own mining company in South Africa. Mr. Kleinhaus is leaving a 5-bedroom home in South Africa. 5-bedroom home in South Africa. Where he says he left his home, his job, his cars, his dogs, and even his mother. Just grabbed his kids and left. So basically, he ran away from his responsibilities, like mortgage and bills. But most importantly, Mr. Kleinhaus is a white supremacist in Africa who has long posted anti-Semitic things about Jews and, of course, his love for Trump. And he goes on and on to post his racist ideology against Muslims and so on. Oh, yeah, and once again, his love for Trump. Anybody ever notice how those two seem to go hand in hand with the one president of the history of the United States, Donald Trump? No other president has ever had this white supremacist groups come fully and completely backing and supporting him. And he welcomes them. So there you have it, MAGA. And still, cricket sounds from you. The more and more all Donald Trump embarrasses and brings shame to this country and you, the more you either show support of what he did by making excuses or cricket sounds. So not only has Mr. Kleinhaus fully admitted that the murder rate of white farmers in South Africa is low, like non-existent, meaning that whole story that they're telling that, oh, Lord, we're afraid of our lives, it's horseshit. He's heard stories of people being shot and killed, farmers like him being shot and killed before. But the reasons why they are trying to get here to America so soon is because of the end of apartheid, meaning that their land is now up for grabs because it's land that they stole from Afrikaners. Now the land becomes worthless. You get it? They're all trying to flee Africa because they think their land will become, there goes the neighborhood. Now our property value is going to drop. Yeah, white supremacy.
Here's a list of everything that the white South African refugees will be receiving from our government for free, funded by our taxpayer dollars. They will be receiving housing, basic home furnishings, essential household items, groceries, clothing, hygiene products, and prepaid phones. They will also be enrolled in public assistance programs, such as Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TANF, Supplemental Security Income for Cash Assistance, SSI, Medicaid for health insurance, and Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP. They will also be receiving job placements, English language training, and expedited pathway to citizenship. This comes after claims made by Donald Trump that white people are facing a genocide in South Africa, despite it being denied by South Africa's political leaders, including those who represent the white community. In February, a white South African judge dismissed the idea of a genocide as clearly imagined and not real. Keep in mind that Donald Trump ended the refugee program for everybody but these white South Africaners, proving that it's not a problem with immigrants. It's the color of those immigrants.
USA, USA, USA.
Hey dude, what's up?
I'm moving to the USA, bro.
Okay, why?
Because I just got refugee status, son.
Okay, don't talk like that, okay? And why did you get refugee status?
Because I'm white, bro.
Isn't refugee status for people from war-torn countries or like people that has got nowhere else to go?
Not me white, you know, like Trump.
There's literally thousands of people living in shacks today because of our history and also because of the current government's terrible efforts to take care of the most vulnerable. Do you think they can get refugee status?
Are they white?
No.
Well, too bad. What Daddy Trump says goes.
Isn't that racist?
I don't know, dude. Ask Elon. Everyone knows he's the real president, huh? Did you check the Time magazine cover? Elon that worked in America as an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, the guy that still greets you like this. No, don't do that. So you're moving for real?
Yeah, dude, I'm just over this shit place, eh? But I'll see you in December in Plett, at the beach house. Also got tickets for all the Springbok games. And also it's Africa Burn. Those things are expensive, so you better be there with me.
So wait, you're coming back?
Well, duh, I have to come back, dude. I got my Hilux bucky here that I need to service. I'm also repainting the house in Harties. Got a golf tournament in Pinnacle Point. You think Cape Town 10 is going to be fun without me?
So wait, let me just get this straight. You don't have to be a victim of any kind to get this refugee status from Trump.
No, dude, aren't you listening to me? You just have to be white.
If you want to know about white Afrikaner South Africans, ask people from Australia who have experienced them at a core. When Mandela became president, it became a trend for a lot of white Afrikaners to relocate to Australia. I'm going to Australia. This land is going to the pits. The blacks are running it. I'm going to Australia. Once they go to a land where they're in majority as white people, they feel like they're at a space where they can openly be racist. You know, I have a few Australian friends who are always at a disbelief with their encounter with Afrikaner South Africans, white South Africans. So I personally feel like they're going to the right country. The USA is the right country for them. Their president is openly racist. He is a convicted sex offender. Yet in majority, people chose him to be president because they did not want to be led by a black woman. Politics aside, this is a country that is actively funding a genocide. They are responsible for the unaliving of the children in Gaza. And at the same breath, they say they're worried about white Afrikaners. In the same breath, they say Ibrahim Traore is a threat to his people, but they are actively funding a genocide. I think the USA is a great place for white supremacy and for people to openly be racist. There is a woman last week or 2 weeks ago who called a kid in the park the N-word, and she created a GoFundMe, and white supremacists have donated to her. It's almost at $1 million. The USA is a perfect country. If you're black and brown and you're in the USA, my dear, save money and relocate.
Not excitement that I'm posting my first video from my new home in the USA.
How's it, guys? Okay, so that was Errol. I'm not sure what his surname is, okay, but he's one of the refugees that went over to USA. And he posted a long video because he's having some beef with his adopted daughter. His adopted daughter is still staying here in South Africa, but that's not really what I want to talk about, okay? What I want to talk about, and what actually is really interesting to me, is I can see from his video that he posts, I'm assuming it's from inside the room or the accommodation where he's staying or where they put him. I could see cornices like that. like that. I could see corners. I could see white wall, and I could see like a headboard, but a carved wooden headboard. Okay, so that means that we are working here with a solid wooden, a solid structure. Okay, so the accommodation is a solid structure. It is not a tent. It is not an army tent, and it is not a caravan. Okay, it is not a trailer. Okay, I hope it's not a trailer. I know you can fix it up nicely. Okay, anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to give that update. It looks quite nice. It looks like it's newly built, it looks new. It looks clean. Okay, so we off to a good start here. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys that. And yeah, happy great tick!
The population in South Africa is 90% black, but black people in South Africa only own 4% of privately owned land in the entire country. But somehow Trump is convinced that these 59 white South African refugees deserve to be housed and fed on the taxpayer dollar in the United States because they were being discriminated against in their home country. It makes me so sick to see that in the same week that a 16-year-old girl had her face slammed into the concrete by ICE because she was brought here as a minor into the United States by her parents, that our taxpayer dollars are simultaneously being spent on an expedited refugee process for white people in South Africa, where they only make up 10% of the population, but they own 96% of the land. Are you kidding me? And their justification is that they believe that white people are being genocided in South Africa. So all of a sudden they have a problem with genocide. Meanwhile, the United States is literally funding a genocide in the West Bank. And for the record, that's not even happening in South Africa. It's been disproven and debunked multiple times. And it's just Elon Musk spreading right-wing bullshit, white supremacist bullshit, as usual. That's all this is. It's just white supremacist bullshit all over again. I'm so tired.
That these Afrikaners are some of the worst of the worst. And one of them has opinions that would get a black or brown person deported in this country. Little hard to say you're fighting anti-Semitism when you're bringing in rabid anti-Semites. Also, little hard to believe that this guy is experiencing such a horrible G-side when he clearly just shit posts all the time. Go figure. It's all just MAGA and Tesla bullshit. Again, little hard to believe that this guy is going through some horrible G-side when he's just constantly shitposting on Twitter. But he's a rabid anti-Semite. You don't see the hypocrisy of this MAGA? You're literally black-bagging PhD students for writing an opinion piece that was critical of Israel while also bringing in rabid anti-Semites with absolutely no questions asked. And that's because they have money and they're linked to Elon Musk. Again, some of the worst people in the world. He shared all kinds of shit after October 7th, implying that Orthodox Jews were unaliving Christians. That's all he really posted about, including videos from pages titled, "Israel is an errorist state." How do you think they'd treat any college student here saying the exact same things, MAGA? They'd get deported. This is why no one has any respect for you and why history will mock you. There's never been this kind of overt hypocrisy, and y'all just covering up for it daily. It's truly disgusting, as are these Afrikaners.
So I have a question. I work with the homeless population, and I know for a fact that we still have plenty of veterans who are homeless and also U.S. citizens that are homeless. So I wonder how it makes you feel knowing that instead of getting services for the vets and for the U.S. citizens that this administration has now welcomed white South Africans, and they're going to get all kinds of help from the government. And I want to know, for those who are cheering the horrific deportation or kidnapping, because really that's all it is kidnapping, because there's no court orders and these people are just grabbing people off the street. They're not identifying themselves. It's horrific. So that's my question. What does everybody think about the fact that now our government is bringing refugees from South Africa? And he said something along the lines of they have a rich, long history of all that they've done, and now the way that they're being treated is horrific. So I want to know, the American farmers here that have lost their farms, are those going to these refugees? Are they going to give those farms to the refugees? The people who lost their family farms. So that's my question. What do we think?